Hey, what's up everyone? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids. It's a beautiful New Hampshire day and I'm out here in this local recreation area and I want to talk to you about two knives from Scar Blades. We're going to be looking at the Papa Bear and then also the Bear. So as you can see, this is basically like the big brother and then the little brother here. And we're going to test these two knives and use them together, contrast them, talk about some of the differences, some of the similarities. These come to us from Scar Blades and yeah, I contacted Casey out there, really good guy. He put these particular blades together for me to include not only in this review, but also in my 10 best survival knives review. And yeah, they've been really, really cool knives to check out. So we're gonna talk to you about them now. We're gonna show you what they look like in use, and we're gonna figure out if maybe one of these two knives would be a good option for you. Okay, as we start talking about the specs here, let me first say that the Bear is not even on the Scar Blades website yet. So this knife was made because a lot of people liked the Papa Bear, but they said, that's just a little too big for me. So they've made the Bear. So there are no details available for this one online. What I'll do is I'll roll in some of those specs on this knife as I hear from Casey, and he lets me know more details on the Bear. But let's talk about the Papa Bear. Just over 12 inches from end to end. You got 6 inches of cutting real estate. It is differentially heat treated, so you have a more flexible spine and a strong tip. Micarta handles on both the knives, nice grooves to set your hands in different positions. Then you have a big finger guard right there, and then you can also choke up, and there's actually jimping in this little choil as well. As you can see, we have a sharpened edge here on the Papa Bear, but not on the Bear. They note on the website that, basically you want to keep this edge nice and clean, use it for cleaner cuts, wood, other things like that. And then this is maybe if you have to cut wire or something else, you're not dulling up your main edge. Elongated lanyard holes on both the knives. And I will note here that they have a ton of different options as far as your coating, your colors of your handles, colors of your blade. So just a ton of different things that you basically are gonna, when you order it, you're gonna get them customized to what you actually want for your knife. Here's a look at your sheaths. They are Kydex. Nothing too fancy about them. They do come with a big belt loop there. So both the sheaths basically function the same way. I'd like to see these streamlined a little bit more than they are. The other thing is that you can get them with an additional fire steel holder built into the sheath. I got mine without, but that is an option that you can actually add when you order your knife. Here's what the Papa Bear looks like in the sheath and on my belt. And drawing it out is very easy to do. Locks in nice and secure. And here's a look at the Bear in the sheath and on my belt. Here's what it looks like when you take it out. There you go. All right, let's start off with the Bear here and just do some maybe this finer work. One of the things I do like about the Papa Bear is the size of the handle. For me, with large hands, that one's very comfortable. So if you got really small hands, that may just be too big for you. But this one obviously is doing the work. Flip this around the other side. I always like to try different angles too. Use this portion of the blade, see how that works. Harder to control, as you can tell, but definitely works, definitely cuts. Just clean that off here. Now let's try it choked up here in this little choil. Oh yeah, I can tell you as soon as I get my finger in that choil, you feel just a lot more control on the knife. It wasn't hard to control before necessarily, but with this, everybody loves the feather stick thing, but let's maybe just try like a little, if say we had to do some sort of notch in this wood, what that would look like. So this is a little detail work. Some of those feathers and then a notch here. Definitely comfortable. And the different options as far as holding it, even with large hands with the bear, it does feel like it's quite comfortable. Jimping is, I would call it medium as far as the level of aggressiveness, but doesn't feel like it's beating up my hands. As you can see, no gloves on whatsoever. But putting my finger in that choil definitely did make me feel like I could do some of that finer work even easier. All right, let's try out the Papa Bear now. As you can see, it's doing great, making these little curls here. It's not really a stick, it's like a feather log sort of, but so I was holding the knife like this and kind of had this finger locked in and these fingers a little bit floating as far as the grooves. Now I'll hold it directly in the grooves and do this. Still working great. All right, let's work on a little tip strength here, do a little stabbing maybe. So that's easy. Tip looks great. Obviously this wood is soft and a little bit wet inside, but I mean, and that thing really plunges in. Let's do it over here again. And then look at it when we take it out. Yeah, I mean, that's over an inch. Try it with the bear now. So the blade's still nice and straight, no issues. I do find this one a little bit easier to hold when it comes to stabbing, I think just because of that compact size. So easier to really get a good purchase on it and then stab it in. And this is the same as the Papa Bear pretty much. You're talking over an inch stabbed into this wood. All right, let's work on some batoning here. As you can imagine, it would be ridiculous if the Papa Bear did not baton well. Just so massive. Oh. That piece of wood was pretty thin and light, but you can see maybe one of the challenges is going to be that cutting edge on the back may beat up your baton, so just something to be aware of. Extremely dry piece of wood, but no problem whatsoever. So yeah, clearly we're not going to have a problem with the Papa Bear and batoning. Now the bear. Also seems to do okay. Let me just put this back in the sheath. There's a piece pretty thick across, so I can hit on the swedge a little bit here. But still no problem whatsoever. That piece is too rotted, it's not going to be even fair. Let me grab my baton here. Kind of a knot here. Let's see how it does on a knot. Still no problem. I'm gonna do a little chopping here. So here's the Papa Bear, and I'm using these bottom two grooves, and then my pinky's kind of locked in here, right below the lanyard slot. Out of the way. I'm going to try the bear now, chopping the same piece of wood, or from the same log, I should say, so it's equal in thickness here. And I'm going to choke back again these two grooves, and then my pinky's kind of hanging off here. We're going to use the sharpened portion of the spine here a little bit just to show you how that works. Just to maybe cut a notch or something like that into a piece of wood. So you can see that definitely, when it cuts. This is not going to be equivalent to like the sawbacks that you see on like a Tops knife, but it is definitely, I mean, it's not just a cool looking swedge, it definitely cuts into the wood. So if you had to make a notch or a groove or something like that, you can see that definitely works. You've seen both of the knives in use. Let's wrap up now, and first we'll talk about the Papa Bear. If you're looking for a one-tool option, this is definitely a knife to consider. So it's big, it's hefty, it's going to chop well. It did some of that fine work quite well. And it's for the size of it, it's still very comfortable. Now the weight for some people is going to be a bit much, but again, for me, I'm like, if you want a one-tool option, this is definitely a knife that you should be looking into. I just like the overall look, overall profile of the knife, and again, despite its large size, just want to show you another image here. There you go. Despite its large size, I didn't feel like, man, this thing is totally unmanageable, or on my hip, I wasn't like, this thing is out of control, it's so much weight. I did like it a lot, and yeah, I mean, even with that thickness, it's going to be able to be used quite aggressively, and you're not going to have any issues. One thing I will say about both the Bear and the Papa Bear is that neither of these blades, with the spine as it currently is, are able to strike a ferro rod. So I asked Casey, and he said they're actually thinking about, this is Casey from Scar Blades, he said they're actually thinking about in future versions of these knives sharpening up the spine so that you can do that. But right now, if you do have a ferro rod, you're going to want something else to strike it, or you are going to have to use some portion of the blade. Or the best option would be, get this current version and then use a Dremel tool or something and just put a 90-degree angle on that spine. So one tool option, yes, definitely for the Papa Bear. When it comes to the Bear, I like the style of this blade. I found that it worked well. It's comfortable. So this is just the baby version of it, or the smaller brother version of it. This is not going to be a one tool option, but if you get this and an axe, this and a hatchet, this and a folding saw, something like that, nice setup for getting out into the woods. If you want a lightweight knife that looks cool, definitely, in my opinion at least, and has functioned quite well, this is definitely something to look into. 1095 is going to be your steel, so you know that's definitely a very preferred steel for people when it comes to bushcraft or survival or outdoor knives. I will tell you that the handle on this one is, I would put it in the medium down to, down to good for people who have small hands. If you have large hands, you're going to have to adjust your hand a little bit to use this one. But I do have large size hands, and I still found this notably comfortable. It wasn't as comfortable as the Papa Bear, but still quite comfortable. So yeah, I mean, a couple mods that I would make would be put a 90-degree spine on that, upgrade the sheaths a little bit. It's not something the company would do, but I'm definitely going to put a lanyard on one of these knives or both these knives, depending on what I use. I do have one other knife from Scar Blades that I'll be reviewing in the near future, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, you can click that Show More tab and then head over to the Scar Blades website and check out some of the other knives that Scar Blades is making. Thanks as always for checking out our videos. Please subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids if you haven't done so already. And I just want to remind you that we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr, and we've been doing a lot of giveaways recently, especially on Facebook, but we're going to be doing that on Instagram as well soon. So make sure you're following us on all the social media outlets, all right? More videos coming soon. Take care.